Hello, 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 folks. Hey, it's me, Chase. So first off, welcome to this live stream. It's going to be going for a little bit. I do have a couple of guests I'm bringing on. To those of you who are logging into StreamYard right now, I see a few people down there at the bottom. If you don't mind, my apologies for putting the StreamYard link into the email. I meant to put the Twitter, X, YouTube, and Facebook links into that email, and it just did not translate. My apologies. This is what happens when you are doing things far too early and you've had no caffeine, hence that email going out. So if you guys could log out and go into YouTube, Facebook, or X and search for @ChaseForLiberty, that's where you're going to be able to see this stream and really participate. Unfortunately, that's where you can comment and do a lot of other things. So I do see some folks. I'm going to start kind of kicking folks out so as to not clog up the stream, because there's only so many people who can be on StreamYard. And again, my apologies for those of you who are logging on to StreamYard right now. If you could just search for Chase for Liberty on X, YouTube, or Facebook, you're going to see this live stream that you're watching right now. My second apologies is if you see me looking down a whole lot, it's because I'm looking at my laptop screen. I have a new camera that's kind of up here. It is messing with me a little bit, but I will get used to it throughout the process of this live stream. So what is this live stream about? What are we doing? First off, I am gonna say goodbye to our friends William, Bob, and Frederick. I see you there. If you could find us, thank you so much for joining us. But I am going to escort you away. I'm going to kick each of you. It's not that I don't love you. It's just that there's only so many slots in this studio, and I do have a couple of guests coming on. So feel free to join me on YouTube, X, or Facebook. Gonna kick, and we're gonna. I wonder how many can we keep on here? Maybe we can keep some people on. I don't know how many, but I'm going to kick some people, and we're going to, because I imagine, please see this on YouTube, Facebook, or X. I'm probably going to have to do this for the first 5 minutes of this whole live stream, is explain this over and over, that if you're coming onto StreamYard, I do apologize. Search @ChaseForLiberty on X, Facebook, or YouTube. If you want to do that while you're here, and then once you get to that stream, drop out of this one, that would be great. But I do see we got a lot of people watching, so thank you guys for coming on. I'm going to get right into it while, intermittently I do say goodbye to some folks who are in the StreamYard throughout this process. But right now, hello, hello, hello. Connor is waving to us. Hello, Connor. How you doing? Heyo says building fins up. Hello to you as well. Make sure you're watching this on YouTube, X, or Facebook, so that way I can see your comments showing up in this lovely stream. That being said, we're going to show these comments as they come in. So as comments come in, you'll see them in this little corner right here. X numbers growing fast. Excellent. We love that. So what am I doing here? Well, you may or may not have known that I ran for president of the United States in the last election cycle. I was really excited to do that, but it really had me putting a lot of my life on hold for 2 years. I had run for United States Senate in the state of Georgia, forced a runoff in that race. And I had a lot of things that I was really ready to do after that Senate race. But then I got a lot of people saying, Chase, you should look into running for president. You should think about this, representing our party on the national stage. You should think about this. And I did. I formed an exploratory committee with some great friends of mine. We ended up exploring and then running for the nomination, winning it, and then running for president last year. And while that it was probably the greatest honor of my life, it did kind of put a lot of things on hold for me. So, it did unfortunately make, kind of put a lot of things on pause, and things that I was really excited to talk about. Hope you're doing well, Gregory. But things I was really excited about doing. And one of those things was trying to take my idea of pop culture liberty, pop culture freedom, pop culture libertarianism, liberalism, whatever you want to throw that umbrella term around. But really the idea of free markets, limited government, skepticism of authority, freedom of expression, freedom to live as you want to, love as you want to, worship as you want to, just do it in peace, that live and let live lifestyle. I wanted to find a way to infuse that into pop culture, because I really do think that pop culture is the best way to really spread ideas, particularly in the United States of America, which is a very pop culture centric nation, where like a lot of what happens in culture, it flows through our politics It is all kind of intertwined. And I always think the best way to reach people is not to do it through thick economic tomes or really complicated philosophical hour long, where you have to describe the philosophy in an hour long, where you're a thisitarian, thatitarian. Like that gets so confusing to people, and it's not really a good entry point to these ideas of freedom. But pop culture is. And so I want to start doing some projects upcoming that are going to be able to bring pop culture to the forefront, discuss a lot of these issues that I talk about as a candidate for president, but do it in a way that is a lot more digestible for the average person. And so that I have some creative endeavors that I'm going to be starting, and it's going to be hopefully funded not only by myself, but also folks just like yourself. And so to that end, I want to talk about my upcoming projects, but really it is my upcoming Patreon, which has just, it launched actually right after I ran for Senate, but really kind of remained dormant for a long time. And so it is not the easiest, most pretty thing to see, right? That's the link they give you. I will share this out to all of you in an email upcoming. It will actually be the correct link, not the StreamYard link that so many people have gotten in my email and come onto the show on. By the way, if you guys want to watch on YouTube, X, or Facebook, you can comment right along. I do see a couple in the private. How can we get you on YouTube? Says Susan. Search at Chase for Liberty, and you should see a live stream, or if you search Chase Oliver for president, the live stream should come right up. It is streaming live right now on YouTube, Susan. So if you want to find it that way, thank you so much for the question. I see other people dropping in here. If you do have any questions about that, drop it in that little private chat. But otherwise, I can see all the comments right here. Like, I personally enjoy nonfiction philosophy books more than pop culture. Connor, I love you, man, but you're in the minority a little bit, I think. But good on you if that works. So great stuff. Hello says, I don't know. Hello. Well, I want to talk about one of my projects that I'm really excited about, because it's something that I've been doing for the last few months, but really is about to hopefully be premiered for each and every one of you. It's kind of in its raw form right now, but with the funding through our Patreon, we are hoping to have the funds to be able to get professionally produced and released. And we have already, I think, 10 or 11 episodes of this podcast in the can. If you don't know me, I am a Star Trek fan. I'm a big fan of Star Trek. I think it is a great television show that has a lot of themes that we can share about, how as long as you're living in peace, harmony, there's a lot of cool stories that are to be told through Star Trek. But really, my main reason for doing a podcast is that I like talking with my friend Tyler about Star Trek. And so I'm going to bring my co-host of this podcast up. It is called, our podcast upcoming will be called The Starboard Nacelle. If you don't know what that is a Star Trek inside joke. But I'm going to bring Tyler on just to talk for a few minutes about this show and what we're going to be up to. So everybody say hello to Tyler. Hello, Tyler. Round of applause for Tyler. Hey, how you doing, friend?
Hey, Chase. Hey, everybody.
Really quickly, I do want to answer this one question. Will I be running again? I will preview that answer after we get off with Tyler. So hang tight. We're going to talk about some Star Trek, and then I will definitely talk about will I be running again for office. But Tyler, without further ado, good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be seen.
So the Starboard Nacelle is our project that we've kind of been working on a little bit. It's been great fun for me. It's been very therapeutic. Just it says too many people are in here, by the way. So I'm going to start kicking people. So I apologize. I'm going to have to kick some folks from the studio that have been here for a minute. Please see us on YouTube, X, or Facebook. But I'm going to kick as many people out as I can, because I have to do that. Because otherwise, it's just going to... Susan, I'm going to keep you in here until you give me the thumbs up that you're finding me elsewhere, because you were asking particularly. But everybody else, goodbye. I love you. Bye, Frederick. You're nice. I love you all. You're great. But if you're seeing this, please be watching this on YouTube, X, or Facebook. I'm going to throw that banner back up. Please watch it here. I'm going to get rid of the comments just for a minute. Give me a moment. Sorry, I'm self-producing right now while I have you on the podcast.
Yeah, well, and when you guys get over to YouTube or Facebook or X or any of those other fine places where you can watch this, jump in the comments section because we're seeing those comments as we go. And I saw your hello, so hello, Melody. It's thank you for saying hello to me and welcoming me on. It's good to be here. Chase, while you're producing, I can just tell some tales out of school.
Yeah, feel free to talk about the show.
I go back with Chase to well, before his presidential run, but particularly, gosh, it must have been December of 2022, I think, Chase, when you rang me on the phone and told me about this crazy idea you had to run for president and keep that momentum going from your Georgia Senate run and from the runoff. And we formed an exploratory committee. So I was super stoked that you asked me to chair your presidential exploratory committee. But I don't think it was much more than a week or two in that we started joking / not joking with each other that when you were done with this whole crazy thing, the carrot that you needed, the light at the end of the tunnel, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, was us sitting down and doing a Star Trek podcast.
Yeah.
So I remember when you got the party's nomination, you reached out to me and said, "I'm sorry, I'm going to have to delay that podcast a few more months," and I graciously allowed that extra leeway. And then when the campaign was over, I was really happy to sit down with you. And for those listening, it's not out there. You haven't missed it. It hasn't been released yet. I think we're working to the point of getting them kind of edited and out in what's going to be a more appealing form than just us unedited. But it is we already have several episodes in the can, which puts us ahead of, I think, most other podcasts that die out after about 5 or 6 episodes or something like that. We could talk about Star Trek forever.
Oh yeah.
I did see the question, John, asking which Star Trek, and I think the answer to that is all Star Trek. I'll tell. I'm sort of a kid that grew up with the Next Generation, so TNG is my sort of home base in the Star Trek universe and sort of that era of Star Trek running through Deep Space Nine and Voyager. I feel super comfortable there, but I'm also a huge fan of original series Trek. I have many opinions, but have certainly exposed myself to a lot of what is called new Trek by some. And so we're talking about all of it, man. It's just two of us together and having a chat.
And I really love the format we use because we have a kind of a dual format. We do 2 different kinds of episodes of the podcast. One is where we go kind of a deep dive into an episode where we randomly choose an episode out of the hundreds, or is there like 1,000 episodes of Star Trek? I don't even know how many there is these days, but out of the numerous episodes of that show, and do a deep dive into the themes of it, what we like, what we don't like what we can pull out of that and bring into the real world. Especially some of the really heavy episodes I think we've done. And we just actually had our first guest on the podcast do one of those deep dives. Ashley Shade, a friend of ours, came on and did an episode. So that'll be a really awesome one upcoming. And we're going to have more guests. Surprise, Tyler. We're going to bring more guests on in the future to do some of those deep dive episodes. But the ones that I really like are the ones me and Tyler one-on-one, where we do a deep dive into like a top 5 episodes about a doctor, or top 5 what's one that we've done in the past that we've really, really liked? I'm just trying to think.
Our first one was a top 5. We did our top 5 most personally impactful episodes as a way to kind of start off the series. And some of them will be lighter, some of them will be heavier, some of them will be positive. A lot of them are our favorites. We're positive guys. We like talking about things we like, but some of them might not always be. I know we have not recorded yet, but our next one queued up for us to record is going to be about some of the cringier episodes of Star Trek. So like a top 5 list, working down some little bit of Trek's cringier side, which can be fun to talk about as well. I see some love for Deep Space Nine on the Twitter chat, and
says Jennifer, and testing your Star Trek knowledge. Spock is half human and half what other species? That's about the easiest one. He's a half Vulcan. But that is a fairly easy question. I'm not going to say that you have to be an expert for that one. But if you want to learn more about Star Trek, learn more about this show, check out me and Tyler upcoming on the Starboard Nacelle. Those podcast episodes will be coming out soon. But I want you to search for Help Plus Create, all one word, Help Plus Create on Patreon. And if you do that, you will find my page. I'm going to show you what that page looks like just in just a second. So that way you can go there and become a patron and help us out and help produce this show ourselves. So I'm not doing it by myself, because you just saw what self-produced looks like from me. I obviously need help doing this, and that's part of what your patronage will do, is to help produce a high-quality show that will talk about a lot of the themes of like free expression, individuality, the universal human rights, right? Like that are inherent to people, not just human rights around the world, but in this context, around the galaxy. So I look forward to discussing more of that with you, Tyler. Thank you for coming on for just a few minutes to kind of give us a sneak preview of that upcoming project. And yeah, if you want to see me and Tyler's smiling face doing a lot more of podcasts, you want to hear a lot more about Star Trek, make sure you go to the Patreon, which is called Help Plus Create. And I'm going to tell you a little bit why. I'm going to say goodbye to Tyler. Have a great night, sir. Throw you off stage. Feel free to hang out in here or jump on the stream elsewhere. But you have a good night.
Thanks, all. Have a good night.
Yep. Have a good one. Cameo appearance by the one, the only Tyler Harris. And yeah, he was with me from the very beginning of running for president. He was one of the people that I first contacted. And like I said earlier, that had me derailing a few creative projects that I really wanted to bring to the forefront. And a lot of that is about bringing the ideas of free markets, limited government, and liberty into the world through pop culture, through a way that is easily digestible, so that people don't feel like they're doing homework when they're having fun. And so that podcast is one of those things. Also, weekly live streams like that I'm doing right now are going to be part of this project, where I'm going to be regularly popping up on social media channels to talk about the news, current events, things that are going on in the world through the liberty lens, in a way that's more easily digestible. Again, that is not some sort of thick, economic tome that so many people get handed when you say, hey, what's a libertarian? And you have to go through a very, very long introduction. I want to make this digestible for people. So these are going to be weekly live streams and then short form videos that are going to be coming out discussing individual issues, as well as how pop culture intertwines with politics. So I'm looking forward to that. And to that end, I'm not just going to be live streaming by myself. I'm going to be bringing on guests each week to discuss their projects, which is why this is called Help Create. Let me share my lovely screen with y'all. If you can see right there, Help Create. If you go on Patreon and search for Help Plus Create, you look for my lovely, beautiful face right there. That picture was taken right outside of a protest right before I went to the Atlanta City Council, and really gave them a piece of my mind, which I love to do to government on a regular basis. But so go to Help Plus Create and check it out. I'm going to discuss our supporting tiers and how your support will help us create more projects and art that's going to go out into the world. I'm looking forward to that. But so in addition to the podcast that we're going to be creating, we're also going to be doing weekly live streams and interviews, as well as this is the project I'm really excited about, and that I really do think is something that a lot of libertarians might be particularly interested in, a lot of political junkies might be interested in. And that is, I know I just said it's terrible to introduce people to libertarianism through a thick economic tome, but I want to do it through a nonfiction book. I want to talk about what it means to run for president. And I want to write a book that details and chronicles the experience of being a third-party candidate in the United States as you're running for president. I want to talk about the challenges you face as a third-party candidate, and also the unique challenges that were present in the 2024 election cycle, both within and outside of the Libertarian Party, that really provided challenges to what I thought was a great year and a potentially great year for libertarians, but ended up being a very challenging year to get that message out. A lot of that being internal struggles with the party, that we had a chair who was, while allegedly embezzling funds, was also violating her fiduciary duty to support myself and Mike Tremont, the ticket for president and vice president. And I think that is a story that does deserve to be told, chronicled, and heard from the point of view of the candidates. So that way, the party can have this account. I would also love for people to be able, I think it's a very interesting story, but I think the party needs to have this account on record, so that way future campaigns can know what these challenges are, head them off before they happen. And I think it is I think it will be something worth checking out, worth investing in. And that's what I'm asking you guys to do by investing at the Help Create Patreon. So go to patreon.com, search Help Plus Create. I'm going to send an email out with all the links so you guys can check this out. But if you're wanting to just browse it right now, I see some people, you might be driving or other things. And by the way, I do see some people who are still in the StreamYard. I know I put the StreamYard link in that email. I do apologize for doing that because, but Paul, I see you're driving. You drive safe. Don't worry. Keep hanging out and listening through here. You can hear me, right? I'm pretty sure you can. Yes, nodding along. But other folks, if you're in here, please search me out on X, Facebook, or YouTube to keep these streams going. This will not be the last live stream I do. This is the first one, and of course, this is my self-produced one, which is why it is a little bombastic. But I do want to be doing a lot of projects that can help bring a lot of these ideas forward, as well as just be fun. So if you do invest in the Patreon, you're not just going to get the podcast that we're going to release to everybody, these live streams. You're also going to get behind the scenes content. I am going to be doing riff tracks on films with guests. So I'm going to be booking guests to come with me to watch a film, do live commentary that you can then listen along to and hopefully enjoy as you enjoy a film that it will be based in liberty or something to that effect. I'm very excited for it, but yeah, so that's what's going on. So I'm going to kick a few more people out of here because I imagine there are some people who are trying to get in because StreamYard only allows 10 people. So again, I apologize, but Joeller, I don't even see your device connecting, so I'm going to kick you from the studio here. William McCord, please see us on Facebook, X, or YouTube, but I'm going to kick you out of here because again, I apologize for putting that on that StreamYard link. It should have been the Facebook, X, and YouTube link. We're going to probably try this again in a week or so. So I'm going to throw some folks out of here because I know there are other folks trying to get in. But I'm going to kick out here for just a second. So goodbye, William. Thank you for hanging out here in the room for a little bit. But please see us on Facebook, X, or YouTube to keep watching. As well as DA. I can't see you, but I am going to ask you to go back, check us out on YouTube, Facebook, or X, as well as Ralph doing the same thing. Please see us on YouTube, Facebook, or X. And Tim, I'm doing the same thing. See us on Facebook, YouTube, or X. Thank you so much. Joeller, I am also kicking you back out because, again, see us on Facebook, YouTube, or X. That's where you can watch. I will have to eventually just kick everybody out at some point if that keeps happening. I apologize. Mark, can you hear me? If you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, or X, is that cool if I say goodbye to you here? Thumbs up. All right. You have a good night, sir. And Paul, I'm going to keep you there because you're driving, so I'm not going to ask you to have to search for things. Great job on the new project. Yes. However facetious that may be, we're working on it. I don't know if that's facetious or not, but it is a little chaotic here tonight. But thank you very much. I'm glad you're still fighting the good fight, Chase. As a fellow libertarian, I sometimes feel hopeless and on the brink of giving up because of growing authoritarianism in the country. But you and your campaign have been a major inspiration. Well, thank you, Bryce. It means an awful lot. I'm hoping the Patreon project can also bring other people into this. Again, I apologize for the fact that I screwed up my email today and had y'all signing in to StreamYard when you can just find me on X, YouTube, or Facebook. Just search for @ChaseForLiberty. You should be able to find me there. I am streaming live. So if you're seeing this and you're in the StreamYard room here, feel free to say goodbye, log yourself out, log into one of those, and see me there. But I will kick some folks out again in a little bit. But here we are. So I want to talk about the Patreon tiers. What do these things mean? What's going on? Let's see. Thank you, Kyle, for giving me real-time updates on the fact that I'm lagging every once in a while. He came over and tried to help me out, and it wasn't working. So, excuse me. So, Patreon tiers. What are the tiers? Again, Help Create is about not just creating art. It's also about finding those who are doing good things and putting good work out into the world and spreading their message as well. Will I feature Tom Queter's movie? Hey, if he lets me, I'd love to interview Tom Queter. He's a great guy, fantastic guy who is a activist for the disabled community. He talks about how to find solutions and ways to aid and help the disabled folks out there without using government programs that are fuel bureaucracy, red tape, and ultimately don't work very well. As Tom says, he runs better than the government. And if you don't know Tom, he is in a wheelchair, but still literally runs better than the government. So he's a great guy. I'd love to have him on a live stream one day to talk about the work he does with the Mobility Independence Foundation. There's so many great people out there. So if you know somebody who is doing a project, a nonprofit, something that's putting some good out into the world, contact me through X, Facebook, or YouTube. Send me not YouTube, but send me a message through X or Facebook, and let me know about these people, because I want to bring them on and share their story and raise their platform and hear what they are doing in the world, because ultimately that's what's going to inspire other people. And we're also going to be doing this on TikTok. So my next live stream is not just going to be on these three. It's also going to be live streamed on TikTok, which I do have over 10,000 followers there. So I can do that and hopefully get some young people interested in these ideas of liberty. But what are the Patreon tiers that we're going to be having? So first off, you can join them for free. You can for free just join the Patreon, check things out. But if you do the $1 helping hand, $1 is the lowest paid tier. You're going to get access to our community Discord, which I will be creating over the next month. You'll have exclusive voting power on some future projects and shows. You'll be helping me decide what is an important thing to discuss, what are important liberty topics to really bring to the forefront. You will have that through the Discord voting rights there, as well as just thank you for the general support. The next tier up is what I call the do-gooder tier. Those are folks who are giving $7 a month to this project. With that, you get the exclusive voting power, community Discord access, general support from me. Thank you very much. You also will get complete post archives. So all of the old shows, because eventually, with podcasts, you do have to recycle out your library. You're going to get access to all the previous shows, all the former content, as well as exclusive content that we will be sharing through the Discord for those who are in that paid tier. Then we have my favorite named tier, Compassion and Empathy. Compassion and Empathy is a $20 supporter per month. And that is going to allow you, it's going to get you exclusive shout outs on the podcast. In addition to everything else that I described earlier, you're also going to get a Patreon shout out. You're going to get a personal phone call from me. And we're going to have you helping supply the charities that we can highlight on future episodes, as well as support with Patreon dollars, because part of my Patreon is going to be going to supporting direct and mutual aid projects and highlighting those projects to hopefully help not just bring our dollars as patrons in there, but more people's eyeballs onto those organizations and help them out as well. And if you are a $20 Compassion and Empathy tier member, you can help select those charities that we give to and that we highlight with free advertising on podcasts and live streams. The next tier up is the impact players. If you're an impact player, you're given $50 or more. Now, I expect most people won't be at this level or higher. This is the higher up people. This is the people who do have extra money to spend. And I know not everybody does. If you have to give $1 or $7 or $20 a month, I get that. But if you're able to give $50 a month, if you're able, not only you're going to get all those things that I mentioned, but you will be on, you will be on a future live stream or podcast to talk about whatever you want. A fan request podcast where you get to decide what me and you talk about for an hour on a live stream. That will be for the $50 a month or more impact players. So, and then the $100 a month. This is if you can give $100 a month or more, you're at the patron saint level. You're a patron saint of Help Create. You're really helping to put this all together. And this is something that will get you all of the things that I mentioned, as well as an exclusive one-on-one meeting in person, pending travel at some point in the future. If you can give $100 a month and more to this project, I'm going to make sure that next time I'm in your neck of the woods, not only do I buy you lunch, I shake your hand, we take some pictures, and I make sure I thank you in person for all the work you're doing to help spread this message of liberty and limited government and skepticism of authority and free markets through art, through good work and mutual aid and charity, as well as having some fun along the way. That's the real thing about this is, I got to spend 2 years running for president. I'm not wearing a suit right now, if you noticed. I'm wearing a t-shirt. It's a really cool Mecha Godzilla t-shirt that I got at MomoCon. I spent 2 years running for president wearing a suit everywhere I had to go, living out of a suitcase. And while that was the greatest honor of my life to do that for the Libertarian Party, this project is a little bit more fun than all that. And so I'm hoping that we can spread the message of limited government and free markets through some fun projects, and really, see what we can do with some art in the world, because really art and culture are intertwined and they're all downstream from politics. And I think we can do a heck of a lot more to change people's hearts and minds by having a fun, educational broadcast that preaches our principles, but does so in a way that is digestible for the average person. And I think that's where we have the biggest disconnect as lovers of liberty, as those who are politically aligned libertarians, people who want to see the government put in its proper place, who want to see more freedom of expression out in the world, and really ultimately want to see people who are peaceful living together in that kind of peace. So again, I'm going to say goodbye to some folks who are here, though. Actually, you know what? We're already 30 minutes into the show. I did want to talk about a little bit of news and views, and I'm going to throw some names. I think you are a very good activist. It's a shame you didn't get more support for your campaign. I voted for you. Thank you very much for your vote. And we're going to make sure libertarians get more votes in the future by making the party a more attractive party that more people can be a part of. Hello, Monk. Thank you for saying hello to me. $7 a month is a bargain for starters. I agree. But even if you can't afford $7, you can afford $1 a month at Patreon. So go to Patreon, search Help Plus Create. And if you do that, Help Plus Create is the name of my project. Again, I'm going to share the screen here so you can see what it looks like. There's my beautiful face. This is the look of disgust kind of that I have for government, because I was about to walk into the Atlanta City Council and shoo them out. But right before I took this picture, I remember exactly where I was. I was right outside of City Hall waiting to get in line. But I figured, hey, I'll get my Patreon started. And I didn't realize that I would be running for president. So all of this kind of got put on hold for 2 years, you guys. So if you can go to Patreon, search Help Plus Create. I'm also going to throw I don't know how I can throw the link into maybe I can throw the link into the comments here. Maybe that's what I'll do. That's what I'm going to do here. So let me just grab this and throw it here in the comments for anybody who wants to go check it out. That's where the Patreon is. So if you want to go there and become a member, that's where you can join this group and really help spread this message. So if you want to go to patreon.com, find Help Create, it would be greatly appreciated, because that's what's going to help us really put some good stuff out in the world that will hopefully bring people into the idea, into the big tent of liberty. And this is an experimental project. This is something that's not really been done before in a way that we're seeing now. I know every libertarian under the sun has a podcast, right? That's nothing new. But what we are doing is trying to infuse people who are doing good in the world and telling their stories, as well as spreading the idea of liberty through pop culture and through pop culture entertainment. And I got this idea because I learned about some really cool stuff through random YouTube accounts that you wouldn't think would have the ability to wake people up to big ideas through talking about a movie or a television show. But really, it's pretty awesome. No, the Patreon is not yet tax deductible. That will be changing at some point in the future. We are going to make Help Create hopefully into a nonprofit at some point. Right now, it is just a Patreon that exists. We are needing to get some of these projects off the ground. Once a few projects are off the ground and this becomes a little bit more self-sustaining, I think we can turn this into something that is more like a 501c. Right now, it is just a individual art project that I'm asking friends to contribute to. to help spread this message. That being said, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in the news, and a little bit about what I'll be doing upcoming in the future, aside from these live streams that you're going to start seeing weekly. I think Wednesday night's really going to be my night for live streaming. Thursday, this is a rare Thursday that I'm not on a date. Usually Tuesday and Thursday are my date nights with my lovely boyfriend. So he is not, obviously I'm not on a date right now. If this were my date right now, I'd be in real trouble. That's the truth. But no, so normally I think this is going to start being a Wednesday night occurrence every week. And it will be, again, not on StreamYard for most of you folks. It'll be through YouTube, X, and Facebook, and eventually on TikTok, as well as Twitch. We're eventually going to get a Twitch going as well, because I do think it's important to speak to young people where they are, and TikTok and Twitch are those places. But in the news, I don't mean to bring us down because you had so much fun on this, but it looks like we might have a war looming between the nations of Israel and Iran. And, you know, it's kind of iffy right now as to whether the United States gets directly involved. It seems like the White House is weighing those options. And they're even kind of having their own MAGA internal war over this. I obviously, as being anti-war to the core, and being somebody who opposed the war on terror, the war in Iraq, what happened in Syria, what we've done in Libya, what we've done in Afghanistan, I think we should not really get directly involved in this war. I think that would be a really bad idea. But what's going on in the Republican Party is this internal war that a lot of people who supported Donald Trump are really divided on this topic. And many of the people who did support him, particularly because he said he was going to be anti-war or pro-peace, are now feeling hoodwinked. I think the biggest example, particularly in the liberal or in the libertarian media, the liberty media world right now, is that Dave Smith very publicly said that Donald Trump should be impeached for this. After all, he voted for Donald Trump. I can't say I didn't warn him. Can't say I didn't give him a better option. But there are libertarians out there who did vote for Donald Trump, and anti-war folks out there who did vote for Donald Trump, who are now feeling a little hoodwinked. And to those folks, I hope you can get kind of educated in the principles of liberty and maybe snap out of the MAGA cult and find a big tent of libertarianism that says you can live as you want to live, be who you want to be, love who you want to love, worship who you want to worship. Just don't hurt anybody and don't take their stuff. And let's keep the government chopped down to size and keep taxes low. I think that's an attractive message to most people. So as these folks snap themselves out of the MAGA cult, I'm hoping they can start shopping around and really seeing that this is a better message that is not only fighting for their freedom, but the freedom for all people, which I think is ultimately way better than anything Republicans or Democrats have ever offered. Just my personal view. But that's what I want to see. Let's see. I was going to drop most of social media after 2025. Don't do that. Stay on social media to hang out with me and do weekly live streams and podcasts and other fun things. Don't go away, Connor. But I do encourage people to check out the Patreon. Please join us. I'm going to drop the link again in the comments so folks can see it. Please check us out right there and join as a patron. We would love to have you. I'm going to put this on the for the few folks who are hanging out internally. I'm going to drop that in the internal private chat as well. You can go there and support this project. Again, this is something that is a new thing. We will see how it works. I'm going to continue being involved in the Libertarian Party, but we'll see how this goes. Now, this internal civil war with MAGA over Iran, I think is a good thing, because I think it's going to ultimately lead to the idea of less intervention. I think if Trump sees a big part of his base slipping away from him, maybe he reverses course, who knows? But all I'm doing is I'm praying for the innocent people on every side of that conflict. I'm on every side of every conflict. When governments launch missiles at one another, innocent people get hurt, innocent people die, innocent people get displaced, and we can never forget that. And I do believe there's a special place in Hades for those politicians who treat these wars like a chess game, as if they're not real lives at stake, and as if diplomacy is a weakness instead of a strength. I think diplomacy over war is actually a great strength and something we should embrace, and that's a value we should be sharing. So that's really my comment right now on this whole thing, is that it's ridiculous that we've gotten to this point. I also think that much of this is distractionary politics, and you know, a little bit of wagging the dog. I think I really do feel like, with all that's been going on in the region, Israel launching strikes into Iran, and they say, well, they're imminently going to have a nuclear weapon, but they've also been saying that for a very long time. There you can go back and find speeches from prime ministers and just defense ministers of Israel saying, well, they're just weeks away or months away from a bomb in Iran. And that never came to fruition. We had our own intelligence community saying that they weren't near a bomb just a few months ago. So I'm inclined to believe that, unless some major piece of intelligence came forward that shows this, I'm inclined to believe that they don't have the bomb. I also think that I also do think that we know Israel has nuclear weapons, and so if we're talking about denuclearizing the Middle East, there's a little bit of things that need to be discussed there. Just put it that way. I mean, I just think that I don't think nuclear weapons are good anywhere. I believe in denuclearization of every nation, including our own. People ask me, because I'm so pro Second Amendment, well, do you think civilians should be able to have a nuclear weapon? And I always say no, but I also don't think government should either. So I'm being pretty consistent there. So just pray for the innocent people who are dealing with this in both Israel and Iran. Pray for the innocent people there, and pray that our soldiers don't get involved, because that will be an escalation, and that can lead to a major escalation, and it's just not something I'd like to see in the world. So if you can join me in saying a prayer for them, that'd be great tonight, whether you're a believer or not. If you're not a believer, just send energy out in the universe or what have you. Donald Trump, boy, does he love flagpoles. Boy, does he love flagpoles. While Israel and Iran are launching missiles at one another, you would think the president of the United States would be very focused on this very, very important international crisis. But no, he was at the front yard of the White House, throwing up a flagpole that really is reminiscent of, those giant truck stops you see along I-95 or I-85. I'm not going to say gaudy, but maybe a little tacky to have like a 90-foot pole right in front of the White House, as if the White House is not a symbol enough of America. I mean, I think it's kind of a hat on a hat kind of a thing. But boy, does Donald Trump love poles and flags. He really, really does. And if you don't believe me, just watch the long, not press conference really, but press avail, where he was talking about how much he loves poles. So there's that. Let's throw up some more of these comments here. Just got here. What is the new project? Well, Lori, I'm glad you're here. I'm going to drop the link in the comments again. You're going to see it on Facebook on the comments. Here it is. This is the Patreon that we have just launched. Help Create. Help Create is going to be an art and philanthropic project to spread the message of liberty, both through art and entertainment, but also through finding the people who are doing good in the world and spreading their message and helping that grow through creative endeavors, through live streams, and through a lot of other things. I'm going to be more in detail on this in the coming weeks. This is literally being relaunched after being dormant for a while. I've actually had to edit and change some things around. You might see some things looking different. Goodness knows the banner page is going to change probably by tomorrow morning, but I really wanted to just get this out because I was very excited about it. And, I want you guys to see this in its most raw form right now, which is me self-producing everything, kind of handling everything. And I want you to see the evolution of this as it happens. And so I'm very, very excited for this project. And if you're going to Patreon using that link, it's going to look like this. There it is. Help Create. That's my face. That's my ugly mug right there, ready to say hello and have you come on as a patron supporter. So further in the news, the No Kings protest happened this past week on Flag Day. Again, speaking of flags, the same day that Donald Trump had a large military parade in Washington, D.C. to celebrate the Army's 250th anniversary, as well as Donald Trump's 75th or 79th birthday, rather. But elsewhere across the country, about 5 million people across the country in thousands of cities and towns gathered across the country to push back against the idea that we have a president who acts like a king, namely that he ignores separation of powers and violates due process, and at this point maybe wants to send us headlong into war without congressional approval. A lot of things that there are people who wanted to protest about. Now, I got a little flack from some libertarians saying, like, why are you going to this protest? The Democrats are the ones planning it. It's a big Democrat meetup or whatever. But, you know, we weren't saying that it was a big Republican meetup when we went to COVID protests in 2021, where we were going where people were. And that's what we libertarians need to do, is get out and touch grass and meet people. And so that's what I did. I went to the No Kings protest. It was a good time. Everything was peaceful and copacetic. The only real trouble that happened was a few Proud Boys tried to come and rile things up, and they were very quickly escorted away from police who were not interested in having to break up fights that day. So police stepped in really quickly and were like, no, let's not try to like spit on people and agitate people and try to start a fight here in the streets of Atlanta. But the protest itself was pretty cool, calm, collected. There were chants, there were speakers. And there was a chance for me to meet a lot of people and talk about the ideas of libertarianism, and that we need to be forming cross-party coalitions to fight for things like due process, separation of powers, limited government, pushing back against the violence of the police state, whether it be ICE or your local police department, these kinds of things, holding government to account. So, and so it was a great time. I encourage people, if there are protests in your area, even if you're not 100% in agreement with everything that everybody out there is for, hang out. But this new project, Lori, is an awesome Patreon. So check it out, get involved, jump on there. Let's see. The left have too many members okay with burning flags. Listen, Chico, burning flags are not really my style, but it is their freedom of speech and expression to do it. And if we want to have freedom of speech and expression, we have to be cool with speech and expression we don't like. I agree, it's not a great symbol. In fact, most of the people who were at the No Kings protest, nobody was burning flags. A bunch of people were waving American flags, actually. I saw lots and lots of American flags and lots of signs. I think they were doing this to intentionally show that this is not an anti-American protest, that this is an anti-Donald Trump and the way he's acting as president protest, which is good on them. It's good visual. Where did I go? Atlanta or Marietta? I went to Atlanta at Liberty Plaza. Ironically enough, Liberty Plaza, right across from the Capitol, where a lot of liberty is taken away by unjust laws and taxation here in Georgia. But Liberty Plaza, it's real cute out there in downtown Atlanta. So Juneteenth is today. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that. What is Juneteenth? If you're not familiar, well, Juneteenth commemorates the last folks who were held as chattel slaves being freed out in Texas, out near Galveston, Texas, back in the day. It was well after the Emancipation Proclamation, but it is a day that we recognize the end officially of chattel slavery in the United States. It is a day to commemorate that, which I think as a libertarian should be something we really, really do support. Some libertarians give flack for that, and I've seen some libertarians complaining on X and elsewhere about it. I just want to read somebody's words about this. So give me one moment to pull that up. Where are we at? There it is. These are the words of Ron Paul in 2007 when he was a member of Congress talking about Juneteenth. And this is what he said. And he's in the hall. He said, Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to support House Continuing Resolution 155, legislation commemorating a monumental day in the history of liberty, Juneteenth Independence Day. Juneteenth marks the events of June 19th, 1865, when slaves in Galveston, Texas, learned they were at last free men and women. The slaves of Galveston were the last group of slaves to learn of the end of slavery. Thus, Juneteenth represents the end of slavery in America. I hope all Americans will take time to commemorate Juneteenth. Friends of human liberty should celebrate the end of slavery in any country. The end of American slavery is particularly worthy of recognition since there are a few more blatant violations of America's founding principles, as expressed in the Declaration of Independence, than slavery. I am particularly pleased to join in the recognition of Juneteenth because I have the privilege of representing Galveston. This is, of course, Ron Paul in 2007. I thank the gentleman from Illinois for introducing this resolution, which I am proud to co-sponsor. And I think House leadership bring this resolution to the floor, and I urge all of my colleagues to honor the end of slavery by voting for this resolution. That was in 2007, Ron Paul. I think if it's okay for Ron Paul to say it's celebrated, pretty cool. It's okay for libertarians to celebrate. I'm just saying. So liberals probably have more in common with libertarians and conservatives. That is because libertarianism falls under the classical liberal umbrella, which is a much larger umbrella. Libertarianism falls under that as its own subsection of classical liberalism. I would agree. There's a lot of things that liberals have in common with libertarians. And conservatism is as far as, we want to be fiscally conservative, fiscally responsible. We want people to be reliant on themselves and mutual aid and charity and other organizations and not necessarily the government. We believe in an end to the welfare state, these kinds of things. So there's plenty for both camps to love and hate about us libertarians, but let's spread the message in a peaceful and positive way. Lastly, I want to talk about what I'm going to be doing upcoming in next week, June 28th. I think that's the date. Next Saturday, I will be on the LP Alliance podcast to discuss Stonewall and Pride and what that means to libertarianism. So please stay tuned for that. But also stay tuned for future live streams that I'm going to be doing on these channels, on Facebook, X, and YouTube, as well as starting this Patreon up and getting things going. So again, check it out. I'm going to drop the link one more time in the comments for folks to check out the Patreon. Go there, join the Patreon, join the family, help us build this up. And if you can, you're going to be part of the first building blocks of this little project here that I hope will be very successful at not only spreading a lot of entertainment and joy to people, but will also be something that can help spread some really good ideas out there. And again, this is something that was a project idea I had before I ran for president. I had to put this all on hold to run for president. I had to put my entire life on hold to run for president. I used my life savings. I left my job. I lived on, literally towards the end of this, just a couple $100 a week was what I was living on towards the end of the campaign, out of my savings and stuff. So that being said, this is something I really want to invest my time in to see if I can get it off the ground and see what it can do to spread the message of liberty in between election cycles. People keep asking me, will I run again? Will I run again? Will I run again? I will if the party is in a better position. I hope it is. And if there's no one who is going to be just as capable or better to step forward, we'll see how that goes. Maybe. But in the meantime, I'm going to wish all of you who are watching this, both on StreamYard, because I did accidentally put the StreamYard link in there. Again, I'm so sorry because only 10 people at a time can see this. And I'm going to kick a few more people out here. And say goodbye to everybody. If you want to keep up with what's going on, please do. Thank you so much for checking us out. And this is not the last live stream. This is just the first very rough draft of Help Create. And we'll be moving forward with more projects. And hopefully with your patronage, we can grow and really spread some great messages through art and entertainment and through helping other people and spreading some love in the world. So that being said, I'll go in more in detail in future live streams. I'm going to wish you all a great evening of peace, love, and liberty. And we will be back in the future. You guys have a good one. Good night.